Well, hello, Cousins and friends. How you doing? Look at Mama. How pretty up.
Thank you.
How'd you get so pretty so quick?
I cleaned up. I do that every once in a while.
You know, we tell you all the time real life happens. We're not going to cook tonight. We really don't have time. I got in work a little later, and we have a family, well, they're almost like a family to us, but they're very close to us, that passed away, and we've got to go pay our respects, and that's what we're going to do. So, no cooking tonight. Sometimes life happens, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
I do have a question for y'all tonight, food related, important food related. Now, I know that we are trying to do away with a little bit of white sugar and a little bit of bread, white flour. But I'm going to ask you, bakers, I want to bake some bread. Now, I used to make bread.
Years ago, we did a lot.
I did, didn't I?
Mm-hmm.
Mom already knew how to make bread. I took a class in high school. It was called Commercial Foods, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's now called something.
Culinary
Arts. So I wish I took culinary arts.
It sounds fancier, doesn't it?
But we had to make bread. And so me and Mama lit out to make bread. And we made several loaves before we got the perfect. We worked on it for several weeks, didn't we? Because it was the date where you had to turn in your bread. So we worked for several weeks on that bread. And we had a pretty good loaf. I'm going to tell you, I got an A on it. It was the right outside. It was the right inside. It rose. It did just great. Well, after that, I made bread quite often. I just whoop up a loaf of bread for several reasons. That was one of the only things I really could cook that good. And I just practiced it and just got it just right. So, loaf bread wasn't nothing for us, was it?
Oh, you know.
Thought I would never not be able to make bread.
What was one that you made? You made a mix like a...
Well, you know, they had them bread makers.
Mm-hmm.
But they made your bread in can looking for them. So, we didn't ever have a bread maker. I was the bread maker. Mama was the bread maker. So, we would buy those mixes, and you could just make them the regular way and put them in a loaf pan. But there's all flavors, and but you don't run into them anymore.
I've not looked at anything.
They may still come out there. If they do, let us know.
We fixed one with spaghetti that was...
Now, I ran across a recipe not long ago, and I made peasant bread, it was called. And it was pretty good. But I wanted to make hamburger buns. They're too expensive. Mom and I only need 2.
You're getting fancy making your own.
I like to make them. Do you have a recipe you'll share with me? And is this the right yeast? I picked this up the other day, maybe a little prematurely before I asked. But this just says active dry yeast. And now I think that's what I need. Or is there another kind I need? And this is all natural yeast. No GMOs. I mean, it looks excellent on the package.
Everything looks excellent on the package.
Is that what I need? Somebody tell me. Also, is there a different recipe for buns than there is for loaf bread? Or is it in the preparation? I know, I've got Google, and I went and Googled, and I looked it up, and I got varying answers. And I've seen other people make it on videos, and they're pretty good. But it seems like every time I watch one of them make it, it's like they just throw it in a bowl and they just...
They make it look so easy.
You're like, oh, it's just a cup and a half of flour and a cup of milk warms and put your yeast, put a little sugar in there, stir it up. Let it rise, they come back, and this big old thing of yeast. Now, just punch that down and just cut this into 4 parts. I'm like, that can't be that easy. So, I want you all to share your favorite bread recipes. Remember, I'm a novelist. I'm just starting out on this bread making thing. But I would like to do, and I actually have a good roll recipe. What's your favorite Thanksgiving roll recipe? I'm assuming y'all use your favorite ones on Thanksgiving. So, if y'all will send me some recipes, I will try to start practicing on them. Now, don't expect me to start making bread tomorrow.
No, by no means.
I'm going to have to make a couple and do some test runs. And I can't do it live on bread. It'll have to be, I might be able to show you the first part, and then on another video show you the second part, and then on another video show you the roll, because it's got to rise twice. But we would like to learn, I would like to learn that. Mama makes Mrs. Schubert. Mrs. Schubert is so sweet. She runs back here on Sunday morning, sometimes and makes us some rolls, and we feel so grateful.
Yeah, she's a good person.
She's a good woman, she is. But instead of her having to do that every time, I like to be able to make them my own homemade versions. Now, I know some of them you roll up in little balls, you put 3 of them in a muffin tin, and they rise up. And they've
so
got those
pretty.
beautiful
What do they call those Parker House?
Parker House rolls.
Is that what it is?
Mama made rolls at school, but we've got that recipe.
I've not found it.
Oh, you've not found it? If y'all have a school roll recipe, sure. But we don't need a gallon of this and 10 tons of that. I just like to make some bread. Kind of like I did cornbread and biscuit bread. If I'm going to eat bread, I want it to be the best bread in the whole wide world. If I'm going to eat a sandwich, I want it to be like bread I just got out of the oven. I like to quit buying bread. I like to quit being, have to go to the store just to get bread.
I love yeast rolls with butter.
And I'm not going to be making them very often. It'll be like cornbread and biscuit bread. I can sure make them, but I've cut way back. But every once in a while, a good fresh loaf of bread would be good. And if we're going to eat bread, I want it to be the top of the top of the top.
Ooh, the top of the top of the top.
How many tops was that?
3 or 4.
Any other recipes y'all want to see us do? I've got a few things. I'm going to do probably maybe tomorrow spaghetti and meatballs. And yeah, I use frozen meatballs because I just ain't going to make meatballs unless that's all I'm going to do. If I'm going to dedicate a dish to homemade meatballs, then that's what I'm going to do. But if I'm just making butter noodles with red sauce and some ice, get a tasty meatball, put them in there. A little shortcut. I've got some of the tortellinis too, the little pastas. It's full of meat. I like those with white sauce. But I need to give me some spinach. But anyway, we'd like to know what you'd like to see.
Does that say 200,000 meals?
Huh?
Right
200,000 meals.
200,000 meals.
Rise Against Hunger. What's that campaign they got? Rise Against Hunger. Well, that's nice. Maybe some of my money went toward that.
Help people.
So this is 3 little packs of yeast. Is this what y'all using? This says for use in bread machines and traditional baking. Is this what y'all using, or do you guys got something else? I've heard people talk about feeding yeast. Is that what the sugar's for?
Yeah. Sugar and yeast.
Right here it says baking questions. Need recipes? Visit redstaryeast.com. Well, there we go.
Yeah, you
Right
can
down
have
the pack. I want tried and true. Now I can try 15 different recipes and then pick my favorite. But we trust you all, and we'd like to hear what your favorite is. So if you've got one,
that was knock out a lot of steps.
not a bacon. If you got a favorite, one that you've tried and it's true, and your mama gave it to you, your grandmama gave it to you, you found it in a magazine, wherever, share it in the comments, and let us know. My favorite dinner rolls are Blue Jean Chef. I like the Blue Jean Chef. Sheet pan dinner rolls are also good. I like the Blue Jean Chef. I use Fishman's. Yeast, Sandra.
Well, this is what.
This is what we have. Now I can go to the other stores and get it. Mom and I did the same thing yesterday. We had to go to Corbin for her doctor. And we said to ourselves, and we do it every time, we're so predictable. We ought to start coming down here and getting groceries and stuff every once in a while.
I was so tired.
Because it's not that far, and it's, you know. As we were sitting at the restaurant last night, I said to her, I wish we had a place like this closer to the house, so you could come get catfish every once in a while. And I said, you know what, that was a stupid statement, because it's pretty close to the house. It's within 30 miles. That's not horrible. I know it's 60 miles, but when you live in the country, you get used to going miles. And I hear people talking about, you know, their work is 25 minutes from their house. And I'm like, yeah, that's how far this is. Or they'll say, we like to go to this restaurant. It's just about 20 miles from the house. But I've lived in big cities, and I know, like, you know, when you live in Nashville or some big city, everywhere you go is 25, 30 minutes away, it seems like. And it takes forever to get there.
If it's not that far, the traffic's so heavy that makes it.
Traffic. And you have to go on the interstate, you know, go to the next exit or something. So I guess we just use that for an excuse, Mama, not to get out and go. Because, like, well, we'd have to go all the way. I don't know if we're lazy, we're just homebodies. What do y'all like to do? Fresh bread, warm, with butter, yum. Yes, Ruby, it is so good. I made meatloaf tonight in my micro grill. Oh, absolutely delicious. Linda, isn't it the dream? I mean, Linda just made it, everybody, right here. You can see her comment. Linda Long just made it. She was absolutely delicious. When you first get that Macro Pro and it's silver, it's metal. And you're thinking, if I put this hamburger meat in there, it's going to be rubber like a ball. This is not going to taste good.
And it's not going in a microwave.
And a woman really gave me a trouble the other day because I put those ribeyes in there. That she implied that I could have given them to somebody who would have used them instead of wasting them.
The ribeyes?
And that was a gift. Yeah, that was a gift. And you all should have, in other words, we should have cared enough to prepare it correctly.
Oh, they were delicious.
They're delicious in the Macro Pro. Yeah, it's simple. Yeah, and it's microwave. And probably years ago, a microwave steak would have been a waste. I don't know. But I'm telling you, I sat here and cut that with a fork. And that was no show. That was just a ribeye that I cut with a fork. The Macro Pro does a good job. And I'm not trying to sell you one. They're not even on sale right now. They are expensive. I'm just telling you. Just like she said, it's not anything what you would expect.
No.
It's amazing how
I was totally shocked the first time we used it because
this is your number one skeptic right here.
I thought sure.
And
the oven would blow up with that pan.
Yes. And it's just sort of like it's just a wonderful thing to cook a meatloaf in 20 minutes or 25 instead of an hour and 10 or hour and something. And in the summertime, I mean, put your meatloaf in the oven in the winter, heat the house up. It needs it. But in the summer, I don't want the house heated up. And honest to goodness, I hate the smell of leftover hamburger grease. Y'all may like it. I don't know. I just don't like it. And I hate to come in the next day and smell it. Some of you picky people out there, like me, probably think, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Others like, he is so silly. Either way you're thinking about it, I just don't like it. And you don't get that with that.
No.
But we're not here to sell Macro Pro tonight. We're here to talk about homemade bread. And I want your recipes. I want your hard work and your labor that you've spent years developing it. And I want you to say, here's the best one, John. Fix it like this and do it like that, and you'll have good bread. Because I can play with it for eons. And I never will maybe get as good as you've already got it. So, I don't want to do all the work. I just want the bread. I need your help. Love mine too. Too hot to start an oven. Yes, Teresa. That's exactly right. It's too hot to start an oven. It's 93. It's 91 right now. It's 6:15 in the evening. At 2 o'clock today, we're in the upper 90s, and we're in the feels like of 3 digits.
I went out checking on the dogs earlier today, and I was going to look at the temperature. But when you went outside, that heat just went over you, and It was just hard to breathe.
Well, we're in code orange.
It,
We're in a code orange ozone, whatever.
it was hard to
I would
breathe.
tell you more, but I don't know more. It's just code orange.
And I thought, whoo, I'm not going out there much.
I was on the interstate today. To hear this, I passed 3 different lawn mowing things with the big tractors in the hay. As soon as I passed them, I started sneezing and coughing. And ever since I've been home, my voice has been cracking, and it's not even, and it's just so hot. And I thought, it's not a fit day for man nor beast today. Give your dog some ice water.
Oh, yeah.
Do like I do. I don't give them as much water as I do ice, but I put it in their bucket that they have up there, and I put fresh water in it, and then I punch them. Dump a whole big pitcher of ice in it, and they like it. They like it. I tell you something they don't like.
Right.
I learned this. And I was trying to be nice. I was not being mean, so don't come at me. Both of them was standing out there, tongues hanging out, waiting for me to get the water ready. They knew the ice water was coming. Got the ice, got everything ready. They're drinking their water. They're loving their life. And them little babies was so hot. And I thought, I'm just going to mist them. You know, like those things you walk within a park and it just missed you. And as it missed you, you walk out and you're kind of cool. I turned that water hose on just at the right spot. And it was just a light mist. And I stuck the... They looked at me like I had 12 heads and started backing up and running and darting around. They hated it. Oliver... I think I disturbed them mentally. Abby ran immediately out in the yard and lay down like that nut is though they're wetting people, and I'm not having no part of it. So she's in the front yard. I just want to paint a picture here. Like, yeah, I seen what you do. You lured us in with that ice water, then you wet us. I said sorry. I said, I thought you would like that. Oliver, he ran around the house. But he's so nosy, he had to come back to see what we were doing. He went to the edge of the yard. Mama could seen it.
Yeah, it was funny.
He went to the edge of the yard, to the edge of the road, and walked all the way up the long way.
Up the road.
He walked so stealth-like, it scared Abby, and she turned around and started barking at him like he was a stranger. And then she realized that was her own child, or at least her roommate, and she was like, what are you doing on the road? And he's like, that nut there was wetting us. So I won't do that no more.
He went cross country to get away from me.
If I had been squirting on with a squirter, I could understand. This was a light mist. They should have loved it. They wasn't a part of it. Do you have dogs like that? Now, I've got friends that their dogs have swimming pools, and they love to be in the hose, they love to be wet, and it's just they do it for them every evening because it's so hot. I thought I'll start with the light mist. I got voted off the island. It was a serious... Oliver didn't come back to me the whole evening.
If you could have seen it, it was so funny.
Mom was out there laughing. Oliver didn't want nothing.
He was far enough away, he knew that water wasn't going to touch him no more.
He didn't even speak to me the rest of the night. He did the next morning immediately, but he got over it. You know, he had to sleep on it. But don't be misting your dogs.
You had dogs before. You bought pools for them.
I have wet dogs with water hose my whole life. If you do it the right way, most of them love it. You know, they don't want that force, but a nice mist
I
that
think
just...
the force scares them.
Yeah. Water scared these two. They went up under water. If I'd have had mud, they probably would have liked that. I got piglet dogs. They like to water in the mud. They don't want to be wet. And I don't know that I've never wet them
I never have.
like that. But they were just standing there. I had just been running the water, so they knew the water was coming out of that, and there was drinking away. And I just turned it to the right perfect mist, thinking I was doing a good thing.
Boy, Oliver sure didn't think
Oliver
it was.
voted no. Abby was just, They are funny. I love ducks. Deanna, we do too. Voted off the aisle. Yes, I was voted off the island, Terry. With them. It depends on the dog. Karen, it does. I came in the house. They came back to the ice water. They drank their fill. No, they stayed with Mama. They didn't care. We live in Michigan
I
because
love
we
the
love
square.
cooler weather and even summer. Yeah, Deb, we're right here in the weather belt, I call it. We get all the weather. We get full hot sun, 100 degrees sometimes. In the winter, we get below zeros a lot of times. We have fall, we have spring, we have all the seasons, I enjoy that. But our weather is extreme, and there's 2 periods of time. The period of time between winter and spring, and the period of time between summer and fall, that you just don't know here. You could go out in the morning and scrape frost off your windshield, and not in the morning, but some mornings in fall, early fall. Scrape ice off your windshield, use the heater all the way to work, get to work, come out, and it's so hot you can't hardly breathe. You have to use the air conditioner all the way home, and you're like, it's been both extremes in one
What
day.
did they say? The weather in Tennessee, I'm prepared for it. They've got their flip-flops and their bathing suits and their overcoat and gloves.
Some days, even in the summer, like in July, we had some of these days. I would come in from work and it would be so hot. And I thought, oh, it's so hot. I come in here to do a video with you all. A front would come through, especially if it rains. Sometimes rain brings cool and sometimes rain brings more heat. But like a rain would come through and you go out and it was 75 degrees in July. You're like, it's amazingly wonderful out here. Then other times it'll rain, it just seems like a sauna.
It's hotter.
Yeah, you never know. You never know. I say that my 3 dogs are worse than small children. Oh, yeah. I wish I could read their minds. I know, me too. That's what I wish most. I could read their minds. Does Mama have a recipe for a jam cake that calls for black walnuts with peanut butter icing? No, Brenda, but I've heard of that cake before, a jam cake with peanut butter icing. That is a southern cake, but we don't make it. Another cake we don't make, never have made that I know of, is the old-fashioned apple stack cake. So it's got 10 layers.
My sister makes them.
She makes them, Mama don't.
I never did care.
We like them, all right. It's just,
I didn't care for them.
I got a hack for them. You take graham crackers and apple butter, put it in your refrigerator overnight. The next day you got the same version, in my mind, very, very close to an old-fashioned apple stack cake. Some of you people who...
No bake stack cake.
I just call it graham cracker apple cake. Some people that have made them their whole life when you were younger or whatever, and you're like, I'd love to have one of them old-timey apple stack cakes. If you'll take a pack of graham crackers, put your graham cracker down, put apple butter on it, put another one on it, apple butter, keep stacking them. Get you this good little, however many crackers you got in a pack. Put them in the refrigerator, let it chill overnight. All that will absorb in there, and the next day you can slice it like cake. It's delicious. I've made them for years. I've seen Mountain Cooking with Missy. She made them very similar, the same way I do. So it's a thing. It ain't just something I made up. It's a real thing. But they are good. They're good. And you can even fool some people. They can bring them over for coffee. So it's like a little apple stack cake with your coffee. Here you go.
True apple stack cake eaters would know immediately.
Well, you don't run with that crowd. You don't need to run with a bunch of professionals who will try to pull something like that. In fact, smell like me over who really don't care, and he'll eat your cake whether it's made of graham crackers or real. If you're going to run around with pros, you better not try it. Oh, mercy. John and Mama, okay. you all please pray for me? Thank you. Vicky replied to Sheila, so that came from Sheila. Sheila, we'll be praying for you. Everybody pray for Sheila. There is not hot, it feels like it's burning your skin. Yeah, Emily, it's horrible. I'm ready for fall. Now it's cool, 60 degrees here in Hampshire. Oh, that sounds good. Well, we're going to run, folks. You all have a blessed evening. We are going to cook again. We can't just keep living on the fat of the land. We've got to have some food. I don't know. We may... I don't know.
You don't know?
It might be like a saltines and bologna when we get back. I don't know. Do you have at lunch? Well, what time was breakfast?
No, I don't know. 9:30 or 10.
So you not had anything since 9:30?
Oh, I ate some peanuts.
I did have lunch. I had peanut butter and jelly sandwich that I took, and I ate it about 1 o'clock. Mama's going to have to eat her a little graham cracker and peanut before we go, so we better get off here and get a graham cracker and peanut butter in her. I'll be fine for another hour or so, and then it'll be something light tonight. Bologna sandwich.
I might eat a bowl of cereal tonight.
That's not protein.
No. I ate protein yesterday a lot.
Catfish. Mama, that's an everyday thing. We get a little protein in you.
Yeah.
The struggle's real sometimes. We're going to have peanut butter and cracker before we leave. So, y'all have a blessed night. And be thinking of something we can cook, and be telling me about your breads. I need to know, and this may not be the brand y'all use, but it's Active Dry Yeast, the right one. I know that Fleshman's, as you said, that is a good brand. I've heard that. Seems like that's what I used back in my earlier bread baking days.
Way back years and years and years ago.
Mama, you could have kept from adding all them years. It was like...
It's when you was in high school.
It was, you said, like years and years and years and years.
Well, how many years has it been? If you're celebrating your...
Mama, it was just a few years ago. Mama, you got anything you want to add besides my years?
No. I'm about to sing.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Bless you.
Thank you.
All right, then. Say goodbye, Mama.
Goodbye, Mama. God bless you all. Have a wonderful evening.
Bye, friends.
Remember the death in the family. Bye-bye.